Good morning, beautiful people. And Jalen.
Good morning.
It is Friday, Friday, Friday. All right, letting people get logged in. I know how things slowly roll in the morning. First, I got to get rid of all these fake people, all these autopilots.
I always wonder, do people actually watch those back?
I don't know. Well, not much because I kick them out of the call so fast. I don't even
What
know
is that?
does it like record the call or something? I don't know.
Well, I guess they set it up with their calendar, and then if it automatically logs into the Zoom, I guess, and then records the meeting, and then it's like one of those AI things, right?
Yeah. I think that's a cheap way of going to class.
How many
That's not
times
how
have you
this works.
sign up for a webinar, not attended it, they send you the replay? How many times do you actually watch the replay? The truth is, if it wasn't important for me to be there, I don't watch the replay.
100%. 100%. Just like all you guys. Oh, can we watch the videos? I put them up on YouTube and I get like 1 or 2 views, which tells me you guys really don't give a about the recording. You just want to be on the call in the morning. And I'm good with it.
Hey.
Jim, you brought her on. Knowing full well how these calls go. Hello, little
I'm
one. I love your little hat.
Hi.
You having fun in California near the beach?
Yeah.
That's awesome. What's your name?
Audrey.
Audrey, I'm Dan. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
All right, Audrey, can you ask everyone to share with you what their win was from yesterday?
Sure. What was your win from yesterday? Or what was it?
All right, what are the wins we have out there? Jamie, win.
Yeah, so yesterday, put a house in contract, got it signed, which is pretty exciting. It was actually my first house that I put in contract myself. I've been around happening a lot, but so that was really, really cool. And it was actually open house lead that met on Saturday. So met him on Saturday in open house, have him in contract on Thursday.
Awesome, good job, congratulations. So
Oh,
awesome.
Jamie. So what you're saying is you did lead generation activity and you followed up and it procured a contract? No,
Yes,
don't
sir.
tell me. Don't tell me it's that simple, Jamie. Real estate's supposed to be hard. I don't understand this.
Yep.
All right.
And then it's pretty cool. We also have a bunch more leads out of that open house too. So we're gonna keep going down the list.
Yeah, you were open house, can I ask? Or did you sit in on someone else's?
So actually it was my wife's listing. So I sat in on her listing up in it was up in Dove Mountain.
Awesome, power team.
Yes, definitely power team for sure.
Can you tell
What
me
he's not saying is that we just sold both sides of our listing that's just shy of $1 million. So not bad.
that's amazing, awesome.
Not a bad thing, right? When we look at these opportunities, real estate really is that easy. You know, do open house activities, which is lead generation, make connections, make friends. Fantastic. Weird. We connect in real estate, right? We know real estate is all about relationships. And then we take those relationships and we follow up on them to procure business. It's kind of a strange correlation how if you do what you're supposed to do, you get business. Kind of weird, right? Well, I've got
I'm already
go ahead, Jamie.
like I say, I'm already signed. He already's putting together a poker game down here in town. So we're already inviting a bunch of other people and getting that sorted out too for when he moves here.
There we go.
So.
A poker game. So now only is Jamie going to get the sale, but he's going to steal some of this guy's money as well. So you guys didn't know about Jamie's. This is Card Shark. So
Yeah, no, they like me because I show up and lose and then I leave, sadly.
All right, guys. Well, my little mindset moment for you this morning is a simple thing. Nothing changes if nothing changes. If you're where you were last week because you chose to not change your activities or change the way you run your schedule or change your mindset, you're to blame. You can't sit on the couch and wish things were different. You have to get into action. You have to get up. You have to put one foot in front of the other and you have to get moving. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And being a Friday, we have to look back. We get excited for the week, but we also get to recap. We talked about on Tuesday is what are you doing with your time? Where are those 15-minute intervals going every single day? Are you spending that time wisely, or are you wasting that time like in a slot machine, hoping that something happens? Stop being egotistical. Stop thinking you know how to do it all. Go back into proven systems that show us you lead generate, you connect, you follow up, you usually get paid. Real estate is one of those games that's very easy to win. You just have to follow the rules. It's when we get super creative, we kind of fail. So let's go back to basics and realize that if you're doing the basics and you go back to basics and you think about the basics and they bore you, fantastic. That means you're creating a foundation. If you go after the shiny and the fun and the exciting every single day, you're not going to get there. But ultimately, if the same activity you did last week got the same results as it did this week, you're to blame. So if you want something different, this weekend is your opportunity to shift that. It is your opportunity to do something more. Talk to one more person, call one more lead, follow up one more email, do more. Because you will see that as you do more in congruency and more consistently, your life will blossom into something pretty magical. And it doesn't take a ton of effort. It just takes a little more. If you're not putting any effort out there, then it might be a ton of effort on your part. But I'm expecting you to be at a certain level already. And if you're not there, that's your call. If you don't want to put in the energy, that's on you. If you don't want to go to the class, you don't want to learn, you don't want to participate, that's okay. We won't put a lot of energy into you. But if you put a little bit more into your business, you'll probably get a lot more in return.
Dan, on that front, there was a message in the chat that asked, like, how do you get open houses if you don't have any on your own or in your team? Call agents, ask.
Yeah, Bree, great question.
Reach out.
Any agent that is licensed under your same broker, you can do an open house for. So I know you're in a different market than we are, but that's fine. You can go and connect with your PC coach there and ask them if they know of anybody. You can pull up the MLS search and search houses that are listed by agents in your office, and then call them and say, hey, I noticed you have a house. It's on 123 Main Street. Is it vacant, or will your seller allow us to do an open house? I'd like to do an open house between these hours and these hours. There is no magic hours of doing open houses. COVID changed the way we work. So people used to work 9 to 5s or sometimes working 6 to 3 or 10 to 7. And you can get people popping by your open house in the middle of the day. So if that's the only time you can do an open house, take it. What point is there working out of an office that nobody's going to walk into and say, hey, I might want to buy a house, when you can turn that open house into a $2.5 million property or a $200,000 property? Doesn't matter. But if your office is an open house, you have now that extra level of opportunity to get a little bit more. And if you're struggling to find an open house, go make a friend at a new build and ask if you can use one of theirs.
What would the dialogue be with people that walk in, apart from the regular, like, what are you looking for? What is it that you found in this listing? What interests you? Like, what's the best bridge to make that into a sale for you?
Jamie, how'd you do it?
So honestly, it was just literally making conversation with people. Hey, so glad you stopped by. Let them kind of walk around, give them a little bit of space, and then just start asking open-ended questions. I made sure I didn't ask yes or no questions, open-ended questions. Hey, you know what? As they're walking out, hey, can you just let me know what's something you liked about this house, or what are you looking for in a house? Or, hey, what brought you? Why did you show up? What are you looking for? We had people that were looking for birthday. They were going to a birthday party. We had 19 signs out, right? And they're like, oh, we saw all the signs, and they just kind of kept going. And so we stopped in on the way to a birthday party. They actually were late to their birthday party because they wound up talking to us for about an hour. And we wound up, this was the only couple that came through with an agent. We got their agent's contact info, reached out to her, who's out of Phoenix. And now we have a referral partner out of Phoenix because she liked the fact that we reached out. They had an agent. We didn't press it at all. Cool. You have an agent. That's awesome. What's her name? So I can talk to her. We didn't ask for their contact info. We asked for her contact info. And then everyone else was just honestly just chatting, just low key, not pressury at all. And the hardest part was you had to work in asking for contact info occasionally. Some people gave it, some didn't. One guy gave it to me. I reached out to him yesterday. He said it was great. He's going to reach out to us when he has the next house he wants to see. So nothing, there's no magic, I guess, is the short word, outside of just trying to start a conversation.
It all comes down to this, Bree, is when you're new in this business, we get tripped up on, do I say the right word track? Is there a script I need to use? Is there an element that I need to put into this deal? And the reality is, in an open house, your setup is key. Like he said, he had 19 signs, lots of marketing driving people to the open house. And then just knowing Jamie in person, you guys get to see him on the Zoom call, that he is like a Labrador. Everyone loves him. He's friendly, he's easy, he's approachable, and he's curious. He wants to know people, so it's very easy for him to have conversations. If that is not naturally how you are built, you may have to work a little harder to have those connections. You may have to ask questions that are uncomfortable for you because you thought it was impolite to ask somebody where they're going. What are you up to? What brings you by? But when you come from curiosity, because you're not there to get something, you're there to connect. The energy of making friends is a very viable energy. So when people walk in the house, I like to say the first thing is welcome home. Big old smile on my face. Because when they're coming in and you say welcome home, it makes them chuckle, makes them laughical. Think about it. You walk in an open house and here's a stranger, big ugly bald guy like me saying, hey, welcome home. And they're like, I don't live here. And it makes them laugh. And then you say, my name's Big Dan and you are? Introduce yourself, just like any other opportunity. Hi, I'm Bree and you are? I don't give a crap about your last name. We're on a first name basis here, buddy. You walked into my open house. We're best friends now. Sorry. That's your choice. What are you doing? What are you out shopping for? What had you stop by? Any question to get them to conversate about why they're there. And Jamie's like, probably like, hey, welcome home, guys. What brought you by? Oh, we saw all your 1,000 signs out there and thought it must be important. I'm gonna come check out this house. Man, you made a great.
I'm laughing because I made friends with the UPS guy that showed up and gave him some cookies and a water and chatted with him for a while.
There are two types of people in this world: those who shy away from making connections because they're terrified of getting to know people, and there's a risk there, and people like Jamie that will walk outside, trip on a shadow, and meet his best friend. And that's okay. You might fall somewhere in between.
But that's why I drive my own car everywhere.
Amanda's windows are tinted, locked, rolled up. No one talks to her, and Jamie's are all down. He does the Jeep wave. He's probably got a duck on his dash.
I'm the one who goes and sits in the car while he talks to everybody in the checkout line at Fry's. I'm like, peace out.
So there's balance. That's how you make a super. So great conversation to have is around the open houses. It's a lead generation activity. And I think for new agents or even agents that are stalling in their business, it's a great opportunity to put you in front of people who are likely to converse about real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Someone you walk into at Fry's may not have real estate on the mind, but someone that walks into you at an open house, even the UPS guy is going to ask questions because you're doing an open house. It piques people's curiosity, and you have to return in kind, be curious about why they're asking. Why are you asking? What are you interested for? What information is important to you? Make a connection. Get them to sign in. If they don't sign in, how other ways can you connect?
Ask them about themselves.
Go ahead.
Ask them about themselves. You don't have to ask just about real estate. You know, like, why are they in town? Are they moving to Tucson? Are they from somewhere else? Where did they work? Who do they know? What, all these things. Like, you wouldn't believe the number of people that were like, oh yeah, like we used to work at Raytheon, or oh yeah, we did this, or oh, we're from Illinois, or we're from whatever. Like, but ask them about that, because that's the connection. If they tell you about themselves, then you can ask them follow-up questions about those items later versus just asking them a generic question about a house.
Amanda's right, Dan. And I think another important thing is that when you're asking about them, if they are from out of town, making suggestions on places to go for lunch, or take your wife over here for dinner. So taking them and pointing out some important places for them to go while they're in Tucson, because this is going to be their new home.
It goes to show that you're a neighborhood expert. If
you know the neighborhood.
If you're doing an open house in a neighborhood you're unfamiliar with, spend some time researching it. Drive around, know if there's a park nearby, know what kid-friendly activities are there. Swing by a couple of the restaurants or look at them and just, oh, hey, there's a really good tapas place down the street. Or, we have an Airbnb in just on the border of Oro Valley. So we're right like one street from Oro Valley, still in Tucson. And someone asked me, hey, do you know of a really good barbecue place? And I was like, you know what? I do. It's not near here. It's actually across town. It's Butts Barbecue. It's worth the drive. And the lady's like, oh, we were looking for something local. I was like, hey, how long are you willing to drive to get really good barbecue? She's like, well, how good is it? I was all, I would drive an hour across town to get it. She's all, give me the address, I'm going. But even then, just knowing that it's, hey, it's not local, but it's across town, or this is local, it's right down the street, you got to try it out. It gives people the assurance that you know what you're talking about, not just, yeah, this house has 2 bedrooms and a bathroom, and that's a ceiling, and I'm pretty sure that's a refrigerator. I don't know though. But then the house doesn't matter. It's the community they're moving into.
People want to talk to
So-
people, you know, so I think that's what you have to remember. People want to talk to other people. They don't, you know, I mean, it's a house. They can see it. They're standing in it, you know. So while you're still selling the house, it's important to know what's around you. I can't tell you the number of open houses that I'll walk in and I'll ask the agent in the house. I asked the agent in a house one time if the house had a pool, and they did not know. Like, they didn't know that the house had a pool in the backyard. That's pretty bad, right? So, you know, like, know what's going on around you. Know that, you know, if you're in Dove Mountain, know the names of the golf clubs, know how much it costs to join the clubs, know the different HOA fees and which ones are required to make you be in the different clubs. Like, be able to have an educated conversation.
Very important thing,
Yeah.
guys. I think it's great. Go ahead, Jamie, share what.
And I was going to say, to just reiterate that point, only one person's going to buy that house, right? Everybody else is going to look for something different. There's different ways to connect. I think about every conversation Amanda actually had that went for any length of time was not about the house.
Yeah.
It was about the neighborhood. It was about all the different things that she was talking about. All the conversations that I had one conversation in depth about the house. Every other conversation with everybody I talked to had nothing to do with the house. And from a contact standpoint, don't get hung up in this is just me, right? Total noob here. But I've tried to not get hung up on the sign-in sheet. I got one of the guys, I got his contact info because I talked to his friend. Frank told me something about himself, about actually his son who owns a business in California, blah, blah, blah. And his business I saw on the news had a big win. And I actually emailed Ray, who gave me his contact info, said, hey, I don't have Frank's contact, but I saw that his son just got a new huge contract with L3 Harris. I think that's phenomenal. I said, you know, me coming from aerospace, I tracked that stuff and I just thought it was really cool. Please let Frank know. He emailed me back within 30 minutes and said, hey, thanks for reaching out. Love talking to you. I'm forwarding your email to Frank right now.
Let's look at this real simple. People don't buy houses, people buy people. NAR puts out a report every year that researches where the buyers and sellers found their agent. And the number one source for the last recorded history is the number one source is family, friend, or referral. So now it's proving the fact that people like to do business with people they like. Families, friends, and referrals, right? If you like somebody, are you going to refer them? So we can go ahead and say, yeah, they must like somebody to refer them. Are you going to be friends with someone you don't like? We're not doing the mean girls frenemy thing. Stop it, Brandy. She's all, actually, yeah, I would be. It's political. And family members, you may not like your family, but you're going to do business with them because you trust them to a point. However, it goes to show that strangers do not get the business as much as people that have a relationship. So people do business with people. People do business with people they like. And people tend to like people like them. You can also add a word that people tend to like people that like them. We all have that one friend from school that was a little too zealous to be your friend, that was annoying, but over time you just became friends with because they liked you so much and want to be your friend, right? Be that person. Be so friendly with people that it's hard not to be your friend. But understand the process, understand the statistics of the market, understand what's happening. Like Mikey this morning sent me an Instagram reel, I think it was, of James Shaw, who's one of our massively successful coaches in Keller Williams, interviewing two people that were kind of a scripting element around interest rates. Are we struggling with that right now? Are we struggling with people saying, hey, why would I give up my 2.5% or 3% to go move and finance at 7%? We don't sell to the logical, we sell to the lifestyle. We don't sell to the logical, we sell to the emotion. So what would have somebody moving in the first place? Let's talk about it, right? If somebody's going from 3% to 7%, that makes no sense. However, we've identified that lifestyle will make people do things that logic won't. What does it look like to stay where you're at? Have them talk about the story. Tell me more about, where you're living, your situations, the pitfalls of living where you live. And then remind them of these pains. Yes, Liza, I understand that you're what, 45 minutes from work? Oh, no, I'm sorry, an hour and 15 minutes? My bad. So an hour and 15 minutes. How is that every day to drive 2.5 hours back and forth to work? Okay, great. So tell me, what else stays the same if you don't move? And then get them talking about the negative stuff. 2.5 hours a day, that's crazy. What is that, like 15 hours a week? What do you get paid an hour? $30 an hour? It's like $500 a week that you're just in your own time for driving. So let me ask you this, Liza, would it be worth it to you to pay an extra, $600-700 a month for a house that you like in an area that you want to live at that's closer to work and save yourself $2,000 worth of your time in traffic? Can we make lifestyle logical? But if we don't have those lifestyle pills, those little pearls that we can, blow out of proportion and examine deeper and say, wow, an hour and a half to work. And one of my best friends took a job as a store manager at a Firestone up in Minnesota. It's actually almost 2 hours from his house. And he just signed a lease. I was like, dude, what's it going to cost you to break the lease? And I was like, okay, so what's it going to cost you in gas per month just driving back and forth? And with that simple question, he was able to identify that it would be cheaper for him to break the lease than pay for gas for a whole month. Don't get hung up on this simple, like, oh, can you change the interest rate? No. So do you want to fight the interest rate and say, you know what, Jamie, I completely understand the interest rate is high right now, but did you know that this is the average interest rate if you take the average over the last 30 years? No one cares. What they care about is, what does it mean to me? So, no, Jamie, if you got 2.5% interest rate, man, why would you move? That makes no sense. But tell me, what happens in your life if you stay there? It can be anything, right? House is too small for the kids, or maybe the house is too big to maintain, or maybe the house just doesn't fit their needs, or it's in a neighborhood, or it's away from their hobbies. It could be a multitude of issues. That is the motivation that you ring on to get the move out of the way, because the interest rate is not going to change. High sales prices are not going to change. Low inventory, probably not going to go away. But what changes? Is that a bird in a cage, Amanda?
That's Peaches.
Peaches.
Mm-hmm.
See, we need to get a nice
The
house.
noisiest bird. The noisiest bird in the world.
I love you guys. I'm gonna ruin our friendship right now. I freaking hate birds.
I do too.
So do we. We do, but our son doesn't.
I hate your son. But the thing is when we lean into the real estate lifestyle, we can overcome a lot of things that don't make logical sense. Why would I go from paying $1,500 a month for my apartment to paying $2,500 a month for a house? Well, what does it do for you? Financially, it makes no sense. However, do people do things that make financial sense that improve their lifestyle, right? Some of you right now are on a device that probably costs you $100 a month or so. Or you've got the newest, fanciest, most technologically advanced phone out there. Do you use it for what it's supposed to be for? Or do you have it just because? That's a lifestyle change. You have an expense that doesn't make sense financially, but because your lifestyle, you're all about it. So When people are hung up on interest rates, tell them, you know what, guys, it doesn't make sense to move right now. Don't. Why would you? Why would you buy a house at 7%? But let me ask you, Bree, what's it look like if you continue to live in your apartment complex? You know, what do you hate about living there? Drop your tonality, get a little bit more. You guys see how I went into like compassion? Like, what is it about your apartment you can't stand? And people will definitely bring out that poison.
What do you do when they decide to raise your lease?
Yeah, great question. What are you going to do when your lease goes up? And then sit there and let them stew. There is a lot of power in staying silent after a question. But no matter the objection, no matter the situation, we lean back into motivation and lifestyle. Just like when you're doing your open houses, you're trying to find out what lifestyle they're looking for. People live in certain communities because of the prestige. Why the heck would anybody live in Beverly Hills? There is way more beautiful places to live that aren't $1 million a square foot. Remember that people will make decisions based on their lifestyle that do not make sense financially. So do not be stuck on the logical explanations of things. Yeah, the interest rates are average the last 30 years. And if you look at it, things are okay and blah, blah. No, it doesn't matter. Why would you move? Why would you buy a house that's so expensive right now? Well, I could have bought this house 3 years ago. You're right. You could have. What kept you from buying it 3 years ago? When you have a conversation, you're allowed to ask more difficult questions and you get a ton more information out of it. So Bree put in the chat that she's got a win and a thank you. She says, I used the advice you gave me on Wednesday that I'll be your backup realtor after I was told someone else already had a realtor. Fantastic. I don't need to be best friend number one. I'm going to become best friend number one over time by showing up more in your life. So guys, to bring it full circle, like we talked about this morning, when we started out, nothing changes if nothing changes. So change your mind around having conversations with people in public, at open houses, on the phone, dialing up strangers, circle prospecting, something you want to do, and connect with them. When people hit you an objection that you can't logically beat, stay away from it. Lean into the lifestyle. Because people will do things that are foolish, like lift a white Jeep and put a whole bunch of embellishments on it, and it's still a Jeep Wrangler. Just saying. So.
Says the guy with the lifted Ford.
Hey, just saying. Fords don't have that weird two-finger, like.
The little salute, whatever.
How are you?
See, not whatever. That's an accessory. I have to have
someone put a duck on my truck to make me feel part of a community. I am the community. Okay.
So if you guys haven't seen Dan's truck, there it is.
So
that's a nice truck.
It is 100% ego. Without it, I would be little Dan Caldwell. I'm just kidding. I just love lifted trucks. So guys, again, perfect example. That truck makes absolutely no sense as a realtor to drive. 0 cents. It is not economical. It is not easy to park. It is easy to see. It is expensive as hell to operate, but everything about it I love. And it's because I did it because of me. Realize that people will do the same things when it comes to housing. So find out the motivation this weekend. My challenge to you is 5 people that you have been avoiding talking to because you're afraid of the objections they're going to give you. Go reach out to them and find out what their motivations really are and bring it back to us on Monday so we can talk. If you need me over the weekend, I'm here for you. Other than that, my friends, enjoy yourselves. Go do something great and change somebody's life this weekend. You all should get a contract this weekend, right?
Spicy mayo, yes.
All right. Big high five.